It's time for breaking bread with Papa. Hey, don't you know? Hey, it's our goal. Hey, it's time for breaking bread with Papa. Hey, don't you know? Hey, it's also a show.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Breaking Bread with Tom Papa. I am Tom Papa. Hope you're doing well. Nice of you to stop by. We don't have any food for you because you are someplace else. But if you came by, we'd give you food. You just never come by. Thank you for being here. We've got Big Jay Oakerson on the program today, a very funny comedian who I've known for a long time. He's from New York City, Philly originally, but I know him from New York. He's got a new special on YouTube called Dog Belly. So it's free for you on the YouTube. Very funny comedian, very funny special. Go and check it out. We'd like to thank the good people at Helix Sleep for being our sponsor today. We love Helix Sleep. I sleep on a Helix mattress, and you should too. Helix is offering up to 20% off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners. All you have to do is go to helixsleep.com/papa, P-A-P-A, and you'll get up to 20% off your mattress and 2 free pillows. It's their best offer yet. It won't last long. Helix, better sleep starts now. We are here. This is our headquarters, our adjunct. It's been going pretty well. We've got Joey over on the controls over there. We haven't gotten a coffee machine yet. That is the one thing I really want to try. There's literally an Italian pizza place right next door, and I feel like we have to. I said this last time. We need to open this bottle of wine. We need to book a guest who's going to open this bottle of wine with us and partake in some of the pizza from that place. Well, I'm not going to give the name because it might not be that great, but it might be good. That's what we got to do. I'm a little distracted today because as of the recording of this, I am not sure. I might be on a plane going to Paris tomorrow, and I might not be. How effed is that? My wife has passport troubles, and it's been going on for quite some time, and we're trying to get word on the delivery of it. So I have done all this research. I have a list of great places to go get pastries. I don't know if you remember. Early on in this podcast, we did Apollonia Poulain, this great French family bakery in Paris. She was on the program. I want to go by and see her. A bunch of great restaurants. Of course, I just want to know where Hemingway got drunk and go get drunk there as well. And then doing a show in London on my way home. And the tone of my voice is a little aggravated. It should be, I'm going to Paris and I'm going to get drunk where Hemingway got drunk. But I don't know if I'm going. And there's a possibility we may not know tomorrow, like 2 hours before we're supposed to go. So I'm trying to be cool. Look, I travel a lot and I'm a pretty good traveler, but to tell you the truth, I'm still a bit of a nervous wreck. I think we all are. Every time you're leaving home and going and doing something, it's a bit of a stressful situation. And this one, I'm not solo. It's with the family. It's the whole thing. And that I am literally recording this and it's 24 hours. Like, I'm going to get the ping to check into my flight. What do you do? Do I not check in? I don't know what to do. I guess just open a bottle of wine and sit by myself and wait and see if a passport shows up. It's very stressful. Everybody, if you have a passport, go check the date right now. And because during these COVID times, even paying like expedited, and I tried to do it right. I tried to pay this expedited service and they completely messed up. So that put us into this down to the wire, having to use another service and trying to figure it out at the last second scenario. Because they completely screwed us. I should have said that too. I should have told the people that I would have, if you guys do this for us and you give us a day in advance even, I will give you free advertising for the rest of the year. I didn't say it. So I'm sorry if I sound a little bummed out. But if I if I do go, I'm gonna have a lot of great reports because I have it completely mapped out. The only bad part is my family is vegetarians, and a couple of the places it's just meat. There's like they're not even getting these old places like what is it called, La May Louis? It's like 14 tables. It's been there forever, and it just serves like rabbit livers and red wine and snails, and it's just going to be a meat fest. I think I'm going to, if I go, I'm probably going to spend a couple evenings by myself, because you can't even go to a place and order rabbit livers in front of your vegetarian family, even if they have couscous and things that they could eat. They don't want to know. Like coming back, it'll be like returning from Vegas or something. Like, let's just not talk about it. I'm going to go brush my teeth now. All right. Big Jay Oakerson is on the program. Love him. He's a great guy. He always has great stories. And his special, again, is called Dog Belly. It's on YouTube right now. So let's jump in and enjoy Big Jay Oakerson. God, these years are really getting, they're really racking up.
That's what it is, like the flyby. Like I don't remember, like, pinpointing, like, a time when I went from, like, I was trying to get, like, the new spot in there to people being like, dude, I got into comedy because I grew up watching you. Like, grew up watching me? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not even fully in yet. Anyway, you know?
I know. That is the weird thing. You always feel young and vulnerable.
Yeah, like you're not that guy. It's like someone looking up to you. You're like, don't look up.
Yeah.
Like look up to somebody who's like doing great.
Have you had someone bring you up at a club where they're like, the legend?
Oh, just the oversell.
The oversell of how long you've been around. It really just means, I remember seeing like Dom Irera being like, oh my God, why are you calling me a legend? How old am I?
Yeah, the living legend.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I've done it, everyone. I've made it to 45.
There's one time I was at, you ever play comedy at the Trop?
No,
The
AC?
Tropicana in Atlantic City. Yeah. It was a weird little club. And I remember Dom was on, I was opening for him. And he was like, ladies and gentlemen, I forget who this comedian was. And they're like, we have a legend in the audience tonight. He's been in the game for whatever. And they're like, I forget the guy's name. He's like, Joey B. And Joey B stood up and everyone was like, who?
That's great. The shout out you never want to get.
Right, exactly. It was like he's saying Sinatra was in the audience.
It reminds me of a thing. One of my favorite things. I'm a big sports fan from for Philly teams.
Yeah,
and particularly the Sixers and the Eagles.
Uh-huh.
And I went to and I became friendly. The only Philadelphia sports person that I'm any kind of like friends with at all.
Yeah.
Is the in-house announcer for the Sixers, the guy who does color in the stadium.
Yeah.
Matt Cord, he's a radio guy, great dude. Known him for years. He's amazing. He's always let me come down, like watch them practice before the game and stuff. I can go kind of do that, and
nice.
It's been great. And then at one point I wanted to get season tickets, and I was willing to pay for it. I wasn't looking for a hookup. I was like, but can you just get me through? There's like a crazy process of like waiting lists and this guy, that guy. Is there anything that you could do? And he said, yeah, let me, he's like, I'm going to talk to the corporate offices. He goes, I'm going to have somebody call you. And you could tell, and you may have had this, where somebody is telling you, did I tell you this in the other podcast?
Yeah.
I feel like, okay. You could tell it, he's told somebody my name with the idea that they were going to know who I was because he knows. You guys tell by the phone call because I could tell when somebody goes, hey, you're going to call Big Jay Oakerson's looking into getting some season tickets. You know? And the guy was like, okay. And he's like, here's the number. Give him a ring. And the guy called me. And I was like, so yeah, I'd like to get these season tickets, like a 10-game thing or something. He goes, yeah, you got to go like sign up for the fan club. It was like,
go to the website.
He just sent me right back to the thing. Yeah, it did nothing for me. And I didn't want to, say things. I just kind of ate that. And, so I go and I pay like a couple games a year. I pay good money to sit in great seats to watch the games. And I gleam at, I know who they are. There's the old man who wears a jersey. It says the sixth man. He sits right at the end of the team's bench. He's an old man. He owns all the dormitories at University of Pennsylvania.
Well,
Then the scores table, and then M. Night Shyamalan seats. He's there a lot. A couple seats down, it's a lawyer named Tom Klein and his child bride who could never care less about the game, just in her phone. And I gleam at them going like, they don't even appreciate how great, like they're sitting on the floor and they're like doing other things. And it's so regular to them. I get furious. And I'm like, I'm sitting with Christine, my girlfriend, and I'm just like, at the moment of me going like, I just don't get any love or recognition at all from any of these teams. And I talk about it's the Eagles and Sixers only.
Yeah. Your whole life.
Talk about them so much on all my broadcasts and bring this. And then a guy behind me gives me a nudge and he points up to the screen. And I was like, what? And I see that me and Christine on the screen, and I like, and then the announcer, Matt, goes, oh, is that him right there? And I like sat back in my chair on the screen. I go, and I'm like, they're about to do, and then it cuts to somebody else, and it goes, is that him? How about this guy? Is that? And then it pulls back on like the sixth guy, and it goes, no, here he is. It's our winner of the Schick Razors, beard of the game.
Oh no!
So
you were just a rando.
I was just but in my mind, I was like, they did stay on me a little bit more than the other people. So I go, but that may have been Matt's like quiet nod to like, hey man. So usually before I go to the games, I'll call him.
Yeah.
Or text him and be like, hey, I'm coming to the game. I'll say hi.
Yeah.
I didn't this time. Maybe it was sort of last minute or something. I didn't want to bother him.
Yeah.
But after the game, we were in low seats, so I walk over behind the thing and I go, Matt. He turns around, he goes, oh, I didn't know you were here tonight. And I was like, it wasn't even a nod to me. I was just literally a loser of Schick Razor's beard of the game.
If you're a Yankee fan, I think it may have changed, but I think it may still hold. Right behind home plate, which is, you're seeing that shot forever, the pitcher to the home plate. Right behind is Lorne Michaels' 4 seats.
Yeah.
And you just, it's just a cavalcade of guys that don't appreciate the game like you do.
Oh, yeah.
But are more famous than you are that are sitting in those seats. And it's so distracting when you're just trying to watch a ball game.
Oh, yeah.
You got to be like, why is that dude there?
Christmas Day, I brought my daughter because the Sixers played the Knicks in New York. So I'm like, oh, we'll go. And I got seats and it's like court side of the thing. It's like Pete Davidson and his sister. Pete looks like he's shaking one eye. He's like got his sunglasses on, his head's down. I'm like,
He doesn't
I
care about the game.
text him like, look alive, dude. I have to listen to the 5 guys behind me, predict your entire life. Who's that? That's not Emily Ratajkowski. They were just nonstop the whole time.
How did you handle the Super Bowl this year?
Well, we went.
You did?
Yeah, Bert Kreischer gave me a last-second offer to go with him, Shane Gillis, and Mark Normand.
Oh, wow.
Which was an awesome
crew.
gift, man.
Yeah.
Great crew, Shane, and everything. And it was funny. I said we were doing like Shane's from Philly too, so we were doing like can't believe we get to experience this together and share this. We're having those moments.
Yeah.
It's funny. When you go and they lose, it's just like, oh, all right. Well, now I guess we got to walk a mile back to wherever we're driving to. Everything just becomes like shitty again. Like, whatever.
It's like leaving Vegas after you lose.
Yeah. When you get there, the bright lights, she goes, this is where it happens. Dreams are made here.
Did you wear colors? Or
I wore an Eagles jersey for sure, yeah. And then just walking out of there is just like any other. You're like, oh, well, that's done.
I guess
that didn't go good at all.
I guess I'll just go to the hotel.
I was just happy they were winning long enough, the Eagles, that I was able to enjoy the Rihanna halftime show.
Right.
Because I could see the anger of just like being down or you getting crushed and you're just like, why do they do this?
Right.
That's when you get cynical.
Yeah.
What football fans want to watch Rihanna dance around?
Where's doing well? You're like, she's really got some tunes.
It's not my thing necessarily, but I gotta say she really is a hell of a performer.
Is she pregnant? Good for her.
Yeah,
good for her.
Look at her go. Doesn't miss a beat. True pro. You know what I can say? She's a pro.
And did you have to go back to the hotel and fly out next day, or did you get out?
Yeah, we had an Airbnb and I flew out the next morning. Yeah. And I said, I mean, the overall experience was unbelievable.
Yeah,
just like Bert's such a party. So wherever you go, it was just like, it was great. We had a blast.
Yeah, good for you.
But a bummer to walk away from.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've learned that to not if I was like, wealthy like
Yeah.
Bert is, I would do something very similar for sure. But it is funny, like my nerves. I paid for me and my daughter and my girlfriend to go to Game 7 of the Sixers versus the Hawks like 2 years ago, and it was just like a meltdown of a game. Like, and I sat behind the visitor's seat because that's where the offense for your team is in the second half.
Yeah.
So just to watch them crumble and miss shots constantly. And when you go home, I go, man, when you're looking at that price when you're buying 3 playoff tickets in like 6th row,
Yeah.
you're like, you click it because you go, these are experiences.
Yeah.
These are things my daughter's going to remember forever. We went to that game. And then when you leave, you're like, this is the stupidest shit we've ever done.
This is the worst
Who would spend that much money?
life.
They don't even give you any of your money back if they lose.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So you spend all that money. And it's like, well, you tried.
Yeah.
Those guys tried for you.
Oh, it's so brutal.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know if I could do that again.
You're not a hockey guy?
No, I never grew up playing it. It was an expensive
Yeah.
sport to play, so I didn't.
Yeah.
That and baseball, I did love. And I actually enjoyed the playoff run to the World Series for the Phillies this year. I was kind of able to get into the players and
Yeah.
their thing.
I
But
know, Phillies were good.
but I had my step pop came into my life when I was like 10, almost 11, and he liked the Phillies, still does. He's a fan, but like I didn't care about baseball, and he. Like took me to a couple games and we went, and it just happened to be the season I got into it big,
Right.
where I love, because it's interesting. The thing I love about basketball is that there's 82 games, so it's like such a mindless like unplug. When I put it on, I'm just like put the game, and I the escape of that I love.
Yeah.
I would love to have 162 of those a year.
Yeah.
But in '93, I became a huge fan, and that's Lenny Dykstra, Mickey Morandini,
yeah.
Dave Hollins, Dutch Dalton, John Kruk. It was this personality-driven team that was great. And they went to the World Series, and that was such a great feeling. And then Joe Carter hit a 2-run home run off Mitch Wild Thing Williams. Mitch Williams never went back to Philadelphia. He went right to Houston and sent for his things.
Right.
And then they were the worst team in baseball for like 13, or at least didn't make the playoffs for 13 years after that. And I just lost my love of the sport. I'm
That's
like,
what
it's a really
happens.
long bore. You know,
When they kill
even
you for that
basketball.
long.
I watched a lot of, and it sucked. I watched a lot of games, tons of games in the season. The Sixers won 10, like before the situation they're now
Yeah.
with everybody. And I mean, like, but those games are still like, it's moving. You know what I mean? Like baseball,
Right.
when you're the worst team, it's just like, you're just watching guys stand in positions and not do anything.
I know, for years.
I guess you go stand there and not score. You go over there.
Yeah. I had that with the Rangers. I was a big Ranger fan my whole life, and then with them all the way up to the Cup and winning the Cup in '94, and then they just sucked for 12 years straight.
Yeah.
And they just beat it out of me. And then I moved. I'm not like in the city anymore. And it's just like, I can't.
I did try, though, once. Someone asked me this recently, and I actually remember making a decision, and it lasted for a quarter of a game. I was like, look, I'm not moving back to Philadelphia. Like, I live in New York.
Yeah.
And this is at a time where now you can, like, I have a package. I could watch every game wherever I'm at, football or, Eagles or Sixers. But there wasn't that. We used to go to Ship of Fools, which was a block up from the comic strip.
The comic strip. I love that place. Man, I haven't heard that name in forever.
We used to go up there and watch the games.
Yeah.
So it was before all that. And then I was like, man, it would be so much cheaper and easier if I could just do what I did my whole life in Philly.
Yeah.
And just turn on the TV and my home team's playing.
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe I'll just like see if I can get into the Giants. I remember just watching a quarter and being like, I can't root for the uniform. It's like my whole life's just been like, no,
True.
no.
Impossible.
And then I had I made a buddy one year who was a tight end for the Jets for a little bit. Great player, Dustin Keller. I became buddies with him. And so I was like, well, I could root for the Jets. They're AFC. It doesn't really matter at all.
Yeah.
And it did. And then he had the ultimate thing that like the fear of anything. He played 3 years for the Jets.
Yeah.
And then after his contract went to the Dolphins. And in preseason got his knee bent backwards by a helmet, like hitting him in the knee.
Oh.
And it's funny knowing someone like that, because when I spoke to him, I thought it was pretty like insightful. He was like, he came back, he got healthy, and he went to like a couple camps.
Yeah.
To like, see if anybody wanted to pick him up. And he said he went to like one of them, like for I think the Patriots.
Yeah.
And he was like, I don't have it. He's like,
really?
you can't play effectively if every time you come across the middle, like you're not thinking about catching the ball. You're thinking about, are you going to get nailed again?
Wow.
And he's like, so it was just time.
Wow.
Stop. So I'm like, that's interesting, man. How
It
that
is
goes.
interesting.
It also goes with the flow of everyone I know who's famous decides to be not famous 5 minutes later.
Right.
I was like, well, you're my only link to NFL.
Yeah,
And he's like, yeah, I'm going to leave. I'm going to open up a string of delis, which is what he did. I'm like, okay.
I'll come in and get half off of a hero.
He's the one. So his quarterback was Mark Sanchez.
Yeah.
On the Jets. And Mark
It's a
Sanchez,
hopeful moment.
when he was done in football, Dustin Keller, I saw him one day, and Mark Sanchez at this point had become, through injuries, the starting quarterback for the Eagles. And there was a game that they're playing against the Cowboys. It was a loser goes home from the playoffs. One of them's going to the playoffs, one of them's not.
Yeah.
And I had done a show for Preston and Steve, the guys in Philly.
I love those guys.
So I did their Camp Out for Hunger show, and the Casey, their producer, said to me, he goes, hey man, I have tickets I'm not using for that game. They're not good. They're like nosebleeds, but like you'll be at the game if you want them. They're yours. I was like, yeah, I'll take them. That's great. And then I saw Dustin Keller about a week before that game, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. Your boy is like the quarterback for my team now. Give me some free tickets to the game. And he goes, I got you, man. I'll get you. He texts me later. He goes, Mark says you're good. Remind me to remind him day of, and the tickets will be at will call for you. I'm like,
well,
I call my sister up. I go, you and your husband can take these shit tickets up in the nosebleeds like bums. I go, you can have those. I go, I'm going to be, Mark Sanchez is getting us some tickets, the starting quarterback for the game. And we walk up there. I give my sister her tickets.
Yeah.
And we go, we walk up to the first will call. They're like, no, like it's not this will call. It's you got to do a different one. Where's the players will call? I'm like, I must be and they go, oh, a player gave you tickets? They go, it's like around the other end, this different entrance. And I'm like, okay. And I go, and they give me an envelope that's got 2 tickets.
Yeah.
And it's me and my girlfriend there, and 2 of these big, like they have like gold lame on them and things. It's weird.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is this thing for? This must be like, and I see the ticket says GA, and I'm like, this might be some kind of a thing like on the field, like a pit or something on the field where you can like. I'm like, this is about to be crazy. What an experience we're about to have. We walk in. First thing they ask for is that big ticket. I go, what's this for? He goes, it's just so you can walk through this room and go to those escalators. I'm like, okay. Well, he didn't get us the buffet. Fine.
He's busy. He's got a
escalator up. General admission. We're going there. Over there, that escalator. We go up. There's at the top of the stadium, and I mean it's the roof. There's a sign. It's 4 poles that have the LITE for Miller Lite. It's a light, Miller Lite thing.
Yeah.
It's a pole and the huge letters. And behind that is just concrete and like the concourses. That's what general admission is.
No.
If you don't stand, now when we get there,
there's
a lot of people there. There's no seat. You're never getting a seat. That's not even an option. But what you also, the problem is, if you don't get against the gate, it's a straight shut down. So you have to be against the, the gating to see the game at all. If you're one person behind, like, it's impossible.
Oh, my God.
The only one we can get is we have to, like this, between the I and T of Miller Lite, like this, and watch the game. And then my sister, who now has at least seats, was the way I had to tell her things. I'm like, and how she enjoyed that so much. So when she comes back to like, I'm like, hey, can you come like stand in our spot or go get us hot dogs, or can you wait here while we pee? And they have to come like be body doubles for us, because if you lose that spot,
oh my God,
if you move, it's over.
Why does Sanchez give you those seats, you think?
Because he's a shithead asshole. He's not good. I was like, I did the oddball tour, and forget even oddball tour because I'm a comedian that's like a little more in. Yeah. When I did the tours with like Korn and Rob Zombie, those guys, I mean, a club owner or something would call me and be like, I saw you in town. My cousin, my best friend from growing up is the biggest fan of like, well, can you possibly get him? So Sure. And I know from seeing him, he goes, he's in the 5th row.
Right, exactly.
He's at least in the arena.
Yeah.
That was the starting quarterback. And by the way, so that light symbol is in the corner. It's the corner of the end zone. Is where that is, that area. And it was just the right spot to watch Dez Bryant catch 3 touchdowns over his shoulders, like right in front of us, to end the season of the Philadelphia Eagles. It was so
God. Well, I feel kind of bad that I got Eagle colors for behind you. We got the special curtain for you.
Hell yeah. Midnight Green.
If I had known they disrespected you like that.
They did the disrespect.
I didn't have time to bake you bread, so I brought you lodge bread, which is my favorite, one of my favorites in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Are you staying in a hotel, I imagine?
Airbnb.
Airbnb? Oh, good. So they'll have a nice serrated knife for you.
Hell yeah.
You'll be able to eat this. I also got you some treats because you're a sweetie.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's great. Usually bake a bread.
I do. I bake a lot of bread.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it hard to do?
It's
to make different kinds, I mean?
To learn it, to kind of get into it, takes some time. But I've been doing it for like 10 years now.
What's the most difficult one? Like a rye?
Rye.
I was going to say.
Yeah, rye is tricky. How'd you know that? It's
I'm just assuming with like the seeding and the texture of it alone.
Yeah, it's a very
spongy.
It's very loose. It's hard to work with. So you sleep every night, right? Every single night. It's not like you do it once in a while. So when you're home, you're using that same mattress. It might be time for an upgrade. It might be time to treat yourself to a nicer mattress. And I know it seems like a hassle. How are you going to get it? How are you going to find it? How are you going to find the one that's right for you? How are you going to have to go to one of those creepy places and lay down in front of strangers? And then what's going to happen to my old mattress? What happens if I don't like it? Well, Helix Sleep has solved all of those problems for you. You go to helixsleep.com and you take their sleep quiz and you put in all your information and they spit out the kind of mattress that you should have. Boom, done. An example of the way things should be. Then they ship it to you and get rid of your old mattress, and you have a 100-day trial. If you don't like it, they'll take it back. Boom, another problem solved. And you want some nice new pillows to go with it? Yeah, they'll give you some pillows as well. Everybody's unique and everybody sleeps differently. That's why Helix has several different mattress models to choose from, each designed for specific sleep positions and feel preferences. Models with more responsive foam to cradle your body, yum, 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 for essential support in stomach and back sleeping positions. They're a great company. We took it, we have our mattress, and we're happy with it. Helix is offering up to 20% off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners. Go to helixsleep.com/papa. That's P-A-P-A, helixsleep.com. This is the best offer yet. It won't last long. Go and do it. It's easy. Just go explore. Why don't you do that? Take your little first step. Go explore. You're by yourself. You're on your laptop. Go to helixsleep.com. Start looking around, noodle around, get comfortable, and then commit, and you will sleep much, much better. helixsleep.com. With Helix, better sleep starts now. How do you feel when you come out to Los Angeles? Because you and I go back a long ways. We've known each other from New York.
Yeah.
And whenever you see your friends in Los Angeles in the sunshine, it's like some people fit, some people don't.
Sure.
Some people you're like, oh yeah, like I can kind of slide in. I'm surprised it was even in New York.
I have. It's been fun. It's very new for me, which I think is neat, because it seems like, again, the years move so fast. Like, I just remember, like, in my friendship with Ari Shaffir,
Yeah.
which is like, half of my comedy career.
Yeah.
Only was time of the Comedy Store being like, okay, you did fine, but let's see how you do in a different room, and we'll check the vibe and the whatever thing. And I do love that now, like, when I go, I don't know, again, what the flip was and the thing, but now I go and it's like, like, you want to go on, it's like, and people get excited when you're in town. So it was, and I think Ari Shaffir, who also executive produced the special, which is amazing. Ari
which is
Shaffir,
called Dog Belly, which
yep.
is available now
on
the YouTube.
Big Jay Oakerson YouTube channel.
Do you realize how much Jay loves you? Do you realize how much Jay loves you?
Do you even?
He's giving you a special. You don't have to do anything but just go on YouTube.
That's it.
Dog Belly, baby.
Dog Belly baby.
And Ari was a producer on it.
But Ari moving to New York was that bridge for like my generation of guys. For sure, because by then when I started coming to New York, even if the work wasn't there necessarily, like the clubs, it was I'd see like the people. I'm like, oh, we're supposed to be friends because we know the same person. You know what I mean? Like that bridge was huge.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it really it was big for New York because then I started coming out here, and it's like last night, my press ended early enough that I was like, I was just not gonna sit in my Airbnb. Let me go over to the Comedy Store, and like I even still pull up going like, oh boy, am I gonna be? And 2 seconds you walk in, and someone's like, Big J, you know, that's great. I do love that feeling.
Oh,
so I do.
Awesome.
I have a much warmer feeling about it out here now.
That's the thing. It's like when you come out here and you got nothing going on, and you're starting out. It's a very isolating, intimidating experience
Because it's huge. Also, it's like a huge like surface. New York, at least, is like subways, 15 minutes to everywhere.
Right. Exactly. No, it's good. I mean, you've had such success. I mean, the Skankfest thing. How did that even start? Because you guys,
What an idea! It was Louis J. Gomez, which is I think he even posted it once in a while because it gets him like, you know, it's like not emotional, but like it's kind of like a neat thing. Like he put out, he goes, in the summertime, a comedy festival called Skankfest. That is all. And he just wrote that in a tweet like years ago. And then Louis, which he's great at, aside from just being hilarious, he's like such a great like business mind in the sense of even knowing how to like employ the right people to do the things.
right?
And then between him, Rebecca Trent, who owns the Creek in the Cave, and Christine, my girlfriend, was on the Bonfire, my radio show, and she's produced a zillion things. Like they just like, so you know, he's like the face man of it. He does like a bunch of the work, and then the three of them together just get it.
How many years ago
done.
did he send that tweet?
Probably like 6 years ago, and I think we're going into maybe even more, maybe like 7 years ago, and we're going into our like 6th or 7th Skankfest.
And it's really become like a thing that people know, recognize, and wait for. Like it's a legit.
Yeah. Well, what I like every year is we end up like turning somebody who was like skittish on coming, and the name I've had to tell, like, you know, I asked Jim Jeffries, I was like, would you want to do it? He was like, yeah. I was like, can I have them like send you an offer for Skankfest? He was like, yeah. I go, do me a favor. I know this sounds weird. Tell your people to not ignore a thing, because I fully get that idea that like, you know, I think we've sent to Fortune before, and so I think like, because we have the same management now, I think he was like, oh yeah, we didn't know what it was, and I think we were right away like, we're not doing a thing called Skankfest. Meanwhile, it's like she'd go there and have a blast.
Right.
And kill. The name is misleading, but it's not misleading if you just take the optics of it, because when you go, you know, we always make the joke, it's a festival of people who look exactly like us.
Right.
There's maybe more tattoos somehow and whatever, but they're comedy fans, like through and through. They love every single bit of it. There's no one who's gone up on that festival that they're not like excited to see. And the fun thing was to be able to see people who we've had like, you know, dumb podcast wars with, or, you know, little like just dumb like beefs and gripes that we have that are nothing. It's wrestling to some degree, you know.
We heard about one, right, Joey? We had Jeremiah Watkins was in talking about the slap.
The slap?
Do you know the slap with Luis Gomez?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they had a slap fight. Jeremiah definitely won. It kills Lewis inside.
That's what he was telling us.
Because he trains.
And Jeremiah's like, I can't do it again. Like I can't
rematch.
Rematch
Because it'll never go as that good again. It was because Lewis was right in the heat of like, I train now and I do it, and Jeremiah just slapped him up. It was, and then also, even it's probably not as bad of a win as I remember.
Yeah.
Other than we've only done. We've done nothing but play up how big of a deal it was that Jeremiah
just took him down.
Just done that to him.
What are the other podcast wars?
Well, I use a good example of, because they're great and they're friends, and they're is the Guys We Fucked Girls. You know, Christina Hutchinson and Corinne Fisher are both great.
Right.
But you know, we've had things with them on the air, and then our fans say shitty stuff, whatever the thing is.
Yeah, that's.
And when
pretty
they
great.
first time they came to Skankfest, they were a little like nervous. You know, they were like, "Oh, we're gonna get on stage and they're gonna yell shit at us and heckle us and everything." And I was like, "You're gonna be surprised. Like, watch. Like, you're like you guys here, even though you're still doing your comedy. It's like they come at you as your Erica Kane." I go, and now they're meeting Susan Lucci. You know what I mean? No one hates Susan Lucci because she's Erica. So I'm like, you were like the villains in this story they were having. They don't hold any kind of, they're happy for you to go do comedy and make them, and they're great. I love that.
Great.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, whenever I see Skankfest, and because I think I was in Vegas, you were in Vegas this year.
Yeah.
And I had some corporate gig in Vegas at the time, and I was like, I should try and get over, and I couldn't work it out because I had to be with these people after. But there is always a little part of me is like, they don't want me at Skankfest.
Oh no, they definitely would love you at Skank. You would enjoy it.
Yeah,
like, you'd enjoy the chaos of it because it's also like it's comedy across the board. But they do the Jason Ellis, like the Ellis Mania fights. We every year do that every day this year. Where like that's the best. It's so
I've done his show.
It's fights that are like organized to be funny and also like pretty challenging. And watch the psychology of it was very interesting to me with that.
What do you mean? They actually get in the ring?
They get in the ring. They play a game called musical chairs, where there's 10 people with boxing gloves on, 10 guys or girls, depending on which one they do, and 10 fighters, and they start with 8 chairs, and they do musical chairs, and the 2 people who are standing have to box for a minute, and then whoever wins that stays, and then they pull a chair away, and they just do that same thing, and just whittle it down to 2 people. The girl who won when we did it in South Festival in Houston, the girl who won was wearing a sweater and just like black jeans, like I mean, such a sweet looking, like. Not even that she didn't look like she would be at the festival, but she just looked like a soft like girl, like a very girly girl.
Right.
And she didn't win. She went to like the finals.
Yeah.
Though. And you know, she was getting like and her boyfriend was watching it happen, and like he's like kind of a big muscly guy, but she was just like a pretty girl. And when I saw her the next day, I was like, because she was nervous before she went in, but she was like excited. Yeah. And I was like, how was that? And she goes, you know, I've never been in a fight. I've never thrown a punch. I've never been punched. And she goes, now I want to go home and take like class. She goes, it was so exhilarating. I was like, wow, it's almost like that Fight Club thing where it's like you're conquering like one of your biggest fears. Like, I don't want to go fight. What if I get punched? Then you get punched and you're like, I'm still okay. And it's fun to watch that happen with these regular people. And then they also have like, you know, internal gripe ones that are good, like producer versus, you know, the producers of this show is talking shit to the producer of this show, so they're gonna fight, and they go. It's like really
Do you ever
fun.
Fight?
No, every year I get like I'm like I really want to, and then I'm like I'm 45. The risk versus reward. In my head, I'm choreographing it that it's just a one-sided ass kicking I lay on somebody.
Of course.
But also I found out through a sketch I did. 15 years ago with Mike Vecchione. We took me and Mike, the sketch was, or not, whatever it was, the segment, we were supposed to take like an hour of boxing lessons with somebody. And then me and Mike would go and do 3 1-minute rounds in the ring, like sparring. Headgear and big gloves.
Big gloves, yeah.
And I've been in so many fights in my life, like a weird amount of fights.
Oh,
for
really?
For my personality, I think I've been in a weird amount. Every one of them, like in anger, you know, like it's
rage.
Well, it's like we're in a situation like we have to fight. You know, there's a fight happening. I've never ever like fought for sport, and it's such a different beast because I remember we did 3 1-minute rounds. In the first 10 seconds, I came out with it. I think I like pawed. You know, I pawed Mike a little bit, and he just sent one. Not hurt, not painful or anything. Just sent a straight one right up the gut and just hit me in the nose. And I had like that kind of like, you know, you see the stars for a second. And I said the rest of the time was just me being sad that my friend punched me like that. I'm like, I couldn't punch him like that. I couldn't do it.
Why does Mike hate
me? I'm like, can he do it? And Mike's just like, he wrestled his whole, you know, he's an athlete. He's like, yeah, we're sparring. And I'm like, I wouldn't hit you in the face like that under any circumstance. And I don't like that you did it. I was just sad.
My feelings are hurt.
So I know I wouldn't, in those things, it's like,
but when you would get in fights when you were young, that was it's because you hated the people that you were fighting,
or
it
just
wasn't
like
your
it's like
pals.
it wasn't
Yeah.
like a buddy who was like, throw on the gloves and see what happens. I'm like, I can't hit you for real. I have to
Right.
throw punches with like intent of like,
Yeah, because
you're gonna
said
hurt
something to
me.
my
You're gonna hurt
girlfriend.
me if I. Well, it's more like that. Not so much this talking stuff. I mean, I've got caught up in that plenty. But for more, it's just like if I'm fighting, it's like, oh, I'm gonna get like beat up if I don't do something. You know what I mean?
Was that
If I don't fight back.
was that a growing up Philly thing, like self-defense kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I always stuff. I always said I tried to bully one time to look cool for the cool kids. And egged this kid on to fist fight me. I don't know why. It was so dumb.
Yeah.
And I had him like when we started fighting. I had him kind of like in a headlock. I remember from the side. That doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Now, especially MMA, you find out it's like it's the worst position, like holding someone in a headlock. But I had him like subdued where it wasn't going to go any further than that probably. And he wanted it to stop and everything. And then a security guard from the library. We always fought outside of a library. It's a weird place.
Yeah.
And this library security guard comes out. He goes, "You guys better go. I already called the police." And that to me was right. I was like, "Ooh, my mom is not going to be stoked on that."
Right.
And so I'm like, so I just let him go. And I was like, I guess we're all going our separate ways. He just jumped on my back and started wailing on me. Thank God, like on grass.
Oh, really?
It could have been like on concrete for sure.
Yeah.
It was like on the grass, like
Yeah.
the little grass on the sidewalk. And it was like a Christmas story. I felt like he was like crying and hitting because like he was. I mean, he had complete control. Where I had to just fold and go like, "Okay, you win. It's over." And I just remember feeling so stupid, but still, even as young as I was, having like the thing the next day when they were like, "So, I mean, that was not cool. Like he jumped on your back when you were walking away. Are you gonna fight him again?" And I'm like, "No."
Yeah.
This whole thing was so.
It's
I
so
have no
stupid.
problem with this kid.
Yeah.
I thought you guys would think I was cooler if I was like bullying this kid, and
Yeah.
then I got my shit kicked in.
It's
No, I should.
so
I'm
stupid.
probably gonna go apologize to him and be like, "Yeah, I don't know what. I couldn't even guess. I have no problem with you."
How old were you here?
It's probably 14, maybe something like
14,
that.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I
when
remember
it
just
really
going home and
starts-
being like, "What am I? Like,
Yeah.
I'm starting that fight that I didn't want to. I don't like fighting. I'm like afraid of it. I'm afraid I'm gonna get hurt.
That is the age where it starts to make sense. The world starts to,
Like, what the hell am I doing?
yeah, why am I fighting a guy? What is your mom like? What was she like if she would not be cool with it? Was she strict?
Well, it was funny. She had me so young. I felt like I was her first kid, and it was, of course, all the lessons are learned there. But her switch was so funny to me. I remember getting an earring when I was like 14 or 15 on my own.
Yeah.
I forged like a letter. She was like, she was young. I remember her being young and being like every bit young too, which is funny. She was 19, so
Yeah.
I remember her 20s relatively well, especially her late 20s. And it's such like a young girl's like life. She worked retail. She'd come home. We had like spaghetti and Parmesan cheese with butter.
Yeah.
Because like we were broke.
Yeah.
And then she'd stretch that phone cord out onto the table and lay on the couch. My mom was like a size 1, but she wore zeros. So she had like unbutton her pants, super skinny, and just sit there and like rip cools and talk on the phone to her friends.
Wow.
And I was feminized so much too, because like I was just in that world where my TV shows were like Falcon Crest. I remember everybody says Lorenzo Lamas. They're like, "Oh, Lorenzo Lamas is Renegade." I go, "I remember Lorenzo Lamas is Falcon Crest, which is a nighttime dramedy with Joan Van Arc." But I watched all those Love Boat and all that
A
stuff,
big bowl of spaghetti, watching
laying on my belly, twirling spaghetti. I always said I know my mom had a good week because she'd call Alpha's Pizza House and she'd order a fried seafood combo, and I'm like, "Ooh,
nice.
la la." I'm like, somebody had a good week at the old,
Heyday.
yeah. She also worked one of her retail jobs for the longest time. When I was young, she did tuxedo rental, smallest formal wear, and I would go there after school and hang out. And then when I started getting older and a little bigger, she became like a general manager of Casual Male Big and Tall.
Nice. Just to get you some threads.
Just make sure, yeah. Hey, guess who found some brown 34 waist jeans for a 10-year-old?
Cummerbund included.
But she was, she was great. My grandparents jumped in. My dad split when I was like 3. and just went on to have new families.
Did you remember him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still like fine. I'm fine with my dad actually, because like I mean we've probably never talked out anything we should have talked out, but like I also as I get older, like I forgive it without even much of the talks because I'm like, he was 19 when he had me. He was 22 when he left.
Yeah.
My mom was 22, and it was a little out of sight, out of mind. Like I don't know if early days of because I was young too. I was like 23 when my daughter was born. So I don't early days. Not even like I'm like, oh, I very much remember even like the idea that I was doing comedy, so I was able to go. When they'd be like, all right, you could do this gig, but it's like one of those Wednesday to Sundays, and I'm like, sweet. Right. I'm like, I don't have to feed a baby in the middle of the night and do whatever. You know what I mean? Like I was like happy to get it. So I'm like,
it's so hard.
When my dad split, I think he was just like, oh, neat. So I don't have to. Yeah. So now I can just go see other girls and not have to bring him with me. I think I told on him. I think I did like
right, you busted him a couple times.
I know the last one my mom always thought it was funny because it was like she goes, that's a great ball you have. Where'd you get that ball? I'm like, Donna gave it to whatever, name. It's probably a name like girl. Donna. She goes, who's Donna? I go, yeah, it's like the lady Daddy hangs out with every Tuesday or whatever at the park.
Daddy's kissing friend on Tuesdays. Daddy's Tuesday kissing friend.
His Tuesday kiss.
His Tuesday kissing friend. That's who he is.
But yeah, so I think I told on him. But yeah, he went and then I got a stepmom when I was I was pretty young, like 5 or so. Like he married my first stepmother, Kathy, who was great. She had kids.
Oh, so you saw him. He wasn't gone.
Yeah, but it was my memories are all like waiting on the Kurt Metzger used to laugh so hard. Yeah, because he would picture me with like everything possible that a son would want for a father, like waiting on the steps with like a #1 Hulkamania finger and like a tent on my back, and just staring at like headlights coming down the street and be like, "This one's him," and he just wouldn't show up. So I had more memories than that. I'm sure he showed up more than that particular situation, but that's like my, he was always like the, he'd call 7 days after my birthday and be like, "Bud, I called you on your birthday. You didn't answer." Like, did I?
Right.
Yeah.
Was that hard to adjust to, or it was just what you knew?
It was what I knew. My grandfather and grandmother were awesome. They gave me a sense of like stability, and like they kind of let my mom go be a kid, right, and sort of took the responsibility of me in that regard. So in between, to a block and a half away, right. The the change between the bowls of butter pasta and Parmesan cheese, like then I go to my grandmother's and she used to make like back of cereal box breakfast. Like it was like a small glass of orange juice, a big glass of like whatever milk, and then like 2 sweet and low packets with Rice Krispies and an omelet with a happy face of ketchup. Like, right. So it was great. So I was like, what I mean? So I did get to have that too, which is an awesome thing. Like
that is awesome.
My grandfather passed, then my stepfather came in. This was so funny. I always let my step-pop brought all masculinity into my life except like the duties of man, like in physical like labor. I mean, so like I have if something breaks in my house, there's no way it's like I'm gonna have to get back there and fix that pipe. I'm like, there's what I mean. Simply if you
immediately,
if you were like, you know what, like don't even wait for them, just change your own brakes. I'm like, these aren't things that I have. I wouldn't know. I don't know where to start. I know where the brakes are. I think.
Right. No,
I don't know where spark plugs go. Yeah,
that all comes from your parents.
But my step-pop came in and he was dirty comedy.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like he brought he was a weightlifter guy. You know what I mean? He brought like those things. And then ironically enough, as much as like a gym rat kind of guy he seemed to be, like he worked at GNC. He was young too. My mom was young when she met him. Yeah. Just like a next level savant, like speed reader, really genius guy, and he looks the part. So of like, you know what I mean, like is the game on? It's like these guys suck, and then go like crank weights with like a weird weightlifting shirt out in the garage, and then come in and like run Jeopardy, and then especially when he was like he went back when my mom got pregnant with my brother. He was working at GNC, and he was like, I guess I got to do something better than this. And my mom, when my grandfather passed away, went back to college. Oh, wow. Got an associate's in respiratory therapy. Whoa. And so, which is a good job. Yeah. For a 2-year degree, especially. My stepmom was just like, what is it you do? And she's like, respiratory therapy, it's 2-year class. I go, I'll just do that. And he just like aced school, and they, I think a hospital paid for his second year so he can go there. So he's just like, yeah, savant guy. But yeah, but on the most basic level, it was never like, you know, my stepmom was never going to be like, hey, why don't we redo these floors? Like he would have no, he's like, he would have no idea either.
That all comes from the men in your life.
But I was thinking my dad didn't have that with his dad. I met my dad's dad once, and I think it was my dad's second time meeting him.
Right.
We went to at a family reunion for my first time meeting grandfathers. New wife's family. He goes, hey, your family doesn't mind if I bring in a bunch of estranged people we've never met? Probably got a lot of issues to work out. Bring them.
Well, if it's any consolation, my family was intact, and my father's and grandfather's handyman skills were horrible. There was nothing. There was never a tool. There was never a toolbox. There was just my father would be faced with a project, go at it until it broke, and then call someone.
That's so funny. I have a friend, great guy, and he's like a person through our lives we've called in as a handyman. But I'm starting to realize in a lot of situations that I don't know if there's probably a good amount of people in the right place you call that a lot of people who do a job well.
Yeah.
A lot of people are just willing to do the job. So he's like a guy where it's like my daughter would be like, I want a shelf.
Yeah.
Like that goes across, like not with the prongs, when it just kind of comes off the thing, and I'm like, yeah. I don't even know how to think.
Yeah.
And then my ex-wife will like call up that guy, and he comes over, and you see it's like bending down, and I'm like, well, I could have done it shitty. You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, he's just the guy who goes like, I'll put it up, and I'm like, yeah. I'm always like, I don't even want to hang that picture because I don't know if that's a stud or not. I don't know how that sounds. Yeah. The machine's never right.
Right.
I go, and all I'm thinking is I'm going to put a hole, and then I have a big, big hole in my wall because I put it in the wrong thing. For hanging a picture.
I know. I'm the same way.
Some people are just like, here, and like, no, here. My girlfriend will do that, and she'll like cram chalk into the hole, and I'm like, I know it's there. Bothers me.
It's just confidence. What was your first tattoo that you ever got?
Oh, we moved to South Jersey when I was, you moved to South Jersey when I was 17, 16.
Now, who are you at 17? Are you into metal? Are you?
I was in everything, but I definitely read Wigger for sure. Yeah, because the stylish clothes, or if you want like any kind of name clothes that time, we're going to have to be like hip-hoppy, like FUBU, stuff like that. It wasn't by choice. My heart was always... It's so funny. Somebody made one for me in my size, and it's just not a flattering shirt at all. But like when I was a kid, I always wanted the 3/4 length sleeve, the Zeppelin Angel. Like everyone cool I saw had that shirt.
The solid blue sleeves.
It was like a softball shirt or something it looks like. And it said always had like the angel. That's right. And I was like, damn, that's the shirt.
Those are cool.
But it was just never in my size, those were always in the smaller people's size. So I went with the hip hop thing. But like,
oh, really? Just had a size.
My personality wasn't really that. Where that helped me organically was when I started in the black comedy circuit. Like that's where I started out, and like already looking the part, like bought me Kurt Metzger.
Right.
Before you said a word, sometimes they'd be like, "You khaki pants wearing goofy motherfucker," and at least I'd go up there and they'd be like, all right, see what he's got. And then if you were willing to pander like I was,
what would you wear
a FUBU jersey or whatever. I had
kicks.
At one point I just leaned into it big time and got I had a chain, like a big silver, sterling silver from the mall.
Yeah.
Chain with I think I had a cross. I'm Jewish. Yeah. I had a cross, a Wu-Tang symbol at one point. I did all of them.
Nice.
And when we moved, I found out there was a place
to Jersey,
in Jersey, South Jersey, called Jersey Devil Tattoo. Still exists. I've driven by it recently. And they were the place notorious. Like you can do the same thing with the earring. Like you can get a fake. Oh, I would say when I got my earring, my mom was furious.
Oh, really?
And told me to take it out before she gets home, which was very painful and difficult. But I did it because I was afraid.
Yeah.
When my little brother was 11, she took him to get his ears pierced. Yeah, it was weird. My mom now has tattoos, which is funny.
It's funny.
But my first one, so they go, yeah, this place will do it. So I went and I was like, yeah. And I got JAY, I mean, Old English letters.
Yeah.
They were, I mean, a half an inch each. It's so little. On my big arm.
Just a little tiny.
Tiny, but I just wanted to get it and be like, look at that. Look who's got a tattoo now.
Technically, I have a tattoo.
Tiny. And I was like, and it's up high. So, like, why would my mom ever see that? Here's why. Every day after school, we would go, especially when I went in Jersey, because it was like a big culture of this there. Like, you could just go play basketball after school for hours.
Yeah.
Rec center, there was outdoor courts. It was always, and me and all my friends would go. So I wore a sleeveless shirt one day, and I came home. I mean, the next day after I got it, and I take off. I'm like wearing a zip-up hoodie. I remember, and I'm going upstairs. I'm like, Mom, I got a whatever thing, and I remember just doing that, and then going, like, she probably didn't notice that, and she was like, "What's that?" And I was like, "What?" She's like, "On your arm there." I go, "Oh, it's." And my stepfather is trying to cover my ass. He's going like, "It's fake, Terry. Don't worry, it's fake." She goes, "Is that fake?" I go, "Yeah, it's like." She goes, "Come here right now."
Oh no!
And I walk over there, and on a brand new tattoo, she starts thumbnail scratching it. I was like, "It's real, it's real, it's real." And I got in a lot of trouble for that. I mean, she took me, yeah. I was like, well, I was a senior at that age, and like, 'cause I started younger.
Right.
I have a December birthday, so it's that decision.
Yeah.
So I was, one of the youngest seniors. But my mom, when she found out, she's like, she's basically, what happened here? How did this happen?
Yeah.
I go, there's like a tattoo parlor, like doesn't care, and like to let kids get tattoos of it.
Oh,
and
no.
my mom goes, where? I'm driving over there right now, and I'm gonna have the place shut down. And she took the car away from me in any capacity for like half a year. Because that was the deal. Was like, I was like, I would do anything. Please don't. I'm already the new kid in school.
Yeah.
Please don't make me. And then also the new kid in school came and his mom ruined everyone's the cool tattoo place.
Yeah,
like,
right off the bat.
And she goes, but other kids are gonna get tattoos. I go, please let that be there. I promise you, I won't do this again until I'm 18. I promise. And I didn't.
Yeah.
I was like, I won't do it again until I'm 18. But please, God, don't make me. It's already, and she was like, she didn't. To her credit, she didn't do it.
So
but
how
she
do you
wanted
turn
to.
how do you turn towards metal and stuff?
It was never a turn to. I grew up. That's why I find
just part of the big
everyone's
mix.
like the mix is so.
Yeah.
It's. I think I said this on the show. Like when I'm driving in a car on a long drive, like
Right.
80s soft rock, so Ambrosia and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But when I was younger, the influences were my mom was all pop and stuff playing in the car. She just didn't overly care, like top 40.
Whatever's on.
She didn't really have like a this is my music thing.
Yeah.
My step pop came and brought like bands like Boston and like a little more classic rocky Kiss.
Yeah.
Stuff that my dad in the limited things were like Pink Floyd and Bowie, and I listened to those to like feel some kind of connection to the hit. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I hope you think it's so cool. I know The Wall.
Right. Yeah.
And so I love those. And then I had my dad's first family or second family, I guess, before the one he has now.
Yeah.
Older stepbrothers there, so I'd go there, and they had Black Sabbath, Iron Maiden,
Right.
more things like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Guns N' Roses came out, and that was like, to me, that was the first thing that I was like, that's mine. Like that's
Right.
my music completely, and I loved it. But
God, that
but it never was like. And then also, my grandfather and grandmother, like not so much. I mean, I know the music of like the "Don't Sit Under the Apple Tree" and the "Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy," and that was my grandfather. Loved Glenn Miller and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but also like Barbra Streisand, who I still love to this day. I mean, I just love Barbra Streisand. I'd go to a Barbra Streisand concert. I think that surprises people, sometimes.
Yeah.
So like, I'm across the board with music. There's no real like thing. But as far as like the look, I've always people make fun of like, especially my age now, and like you have a wallet chain and a blah blah blah, and the fingerless gloves and everything. And the ownership I have over it couldn't be more. Where I'm just like. Yeah, man, I wish I would have dressed how I wanted to as a kid more.
Yeah.
I didn't. I tried to do everything that everybody was doing.
Right.
And scurrying for like the look of the time where I was like,
of course.
My heart, I'm like, I should have been like a safety pin earring guy and stuff. That's what I wanted to do. But I was like, those kids are even more like made fun of than I am, I'm like, so let me just throw on like whatever the stylish. But that was the best too, is my poor grandmother taking me school clothes shopping and like, watching her fat grandson try to do the styles of the day. And my best one was she took me for school clothes shopping, and I got MC Hammer pants. You remember those? With
the big Zubas.
But the bottom was like the crotch was like down to the ankles or to the like knees. And I went to a store, more bootleggy stuff. One, they didn't call them Hammer pants; they called them Bobby Brown pants, which I thought was funny. The only ones they had in my size, even though they're like elastic waists, pretty much like drawstring things.
Still,
my size was bright gold, like a golden color, almost like this, like the bag. And my grandmother, the funniest thing was my grandmother and Aunt Anita, her friend.
I had an Aunt Anita.
These two old ladies, bought pairs also because they were like, "This will be good to walk around the school." That was their exercise. They walk around the schoolyards, and so. Sometimes when I was at recess, I see my grandma and Aunt Anita walking around in hammer pants, like walking around the schoolyard.
That's amazing.
But when I went home that night, my mom and step-pop would always be like, "Well, let's see."
Yeah.
You know, my grandmother would take me to school because she had money.
Yeah.
Not even a lot of money. She just more money than my mom and step-pop.
None.
And she was like, "I'll do that. I'll take him for his school clothes."
Yeah.
And she kind of let me like pick what I, she would just believe me. I'm like, this is the style. I know they don't make Cavaricis in my size, but Hugo Boss makes a nice pleated pant. And
pleated.
And I'm going, and I remember like showing, I put on my jeans and my sweatshirts or whatever to show my parents, and they're like, "It's fine, it's fine." And they were more just like, "What did you get?" It wasn't even like they weren't going like, "That's appropriate, that's not appropriate."
Judging.
And I just came out, and I go, "Oh, and here's what I'm pretty excited about." And I came out in those gold MC Hammer pants. I don't know. I always describe it Def Jam laughing, because like they're like laughing so hard on that couch, and I'm standing with my legs like closed. I'm standing like straight up.
You haven't even done.
My legs closed, and they see though how wacky, baggy these things are in the middle. Yeah. And my step-pop, I remember just going. He goes, "What's like between laughs?" He's like, "What's all that shit in the middle? What's all this shit?" And then I went, "Oh, I mean, like MC Hammer." And then when I stretched my legs open, I mean, they were like slapping each other, like they couldn't control themselves. Those pants became like my sick pants. Like if I was in bed for a couple days,
really
like because they're super comfortable, but I would never. And we moved eventually. Amazing. When we moved, when I was like 16 or something, I remember going to the bottom of my drawer, and I'm like, "Oh wow, it's a Hammer pants."
That's amazing.
They still never put them on in school once, and I said they saved me from like looking like a fool.
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny.
Because I did a bunch of them.
Just the picture of you, just kind of like into your cool pants, just.
I made a lot of those mistakes.
With the reaction you're not thinking they're going to give you.
I made so many of those mistakes. I did my stepbrothers were skinny, like cool looking kids.
Yeah.
And one year for Christmas, my dad got us all the same really ugly, like yellow with like some paisley patterns on it, like button down shirt.
Oh,
ugly.
Yeah.
But these skinny brothers of mine, at the time of like style and stuff, I think they put on like a hat of some sort and a half top underneath it.
Oh, no.
And at the time I was like, these guys look so cool. And then I'm going back to my life during the weekdays. And I said one time, I think my mom didn't let me go to school with my gut hanging out of a half top on that same show. I tried to do it and she was like, no.
Yeah.
I tried when I saw the Def Leppard video for Pour Some Sugar on Me when he's got all the cuts in the jeans.
Yeah.
I thought it was just I don't know there was a process to making those cuts look like that. So I just took a scissor whack like every couple inches on some pants, my husky jeans, and it looked like I got stung by 1,000 bees. It just it would be like dark blue jeans, a slice, and a fat bubble of skin, and then another. It would.
Your Wranglers,
and then the other, and then the one of the few ones I walked home from school in the middle of the day, just going like I'm leaving, and if I get in trouble, I get in trouble.
Yeah.
Was when the movie Roadhouse came out.
Oh, no. Swayze.
The last 30 minutes of the movie, he's wearing a karate gi as a shirt. It's tucked into jeans with a belt. And on Patrick Swayze's little frame, it looks awesome. It even looks cool when he's fighting and it comes out a little bit. And it's like, and I wore the karate gi as a shirt. I remember the first time just adjusting it all, and I'd get that bunch up right there. I'm like, and you just see like little fat titties like sitting there. And I was like, enough people laughed at that I was like, I'm going home, and we're just gonna walk away from this one.
It's so funny because at the same time I'm in North Jersey trying to be Springsteen.
Yeah.
Who were like at that time was wearing like a real cool leather vest, but I couldn't afford leather. The rest of mine was just like felt.
Oh, I also
It's also Jersey dumb.
it is, I also did the move when we moved in, I guess, 93.
Yeah.
It was to South Jersey. That was actually really hilarious. 93 or 94 we moved, I think. 93.
Yeah.
We moved out there. I also had that moment of like, well, I'm also going to a new school. Like, I'm a clean slate here.
Right.
Who am I going to be? And one of the fails was there was a pool hall, but it was like 4 teenagers you can go to.
Yeah.
I think adults could go, but it was just like, I think it was no booze. It was just like a pool hall.
Yeah.
It seemed like a cool place. I'm like, maybe I'll go show my face from there, shoot some pool by myself for a little bit, and see what happens.
And I
went in I went 90210 for some reason. It was a gray sweatshirt.
Yeah.
Sleeves, like the short sleeves,
Rolled up.
Black, shiny back vest with like the pattern on the front. And like Joey Lawrence. And that was another one I'm just like doing. I'm like, what? Oh, I think that was the first day I found.
Character.
I think it was the first day I found out that gray sweatshirts really show armpit sweat under my vest.
Oh, it's so hard. Just a mess. Will you get more tattoos now? How many tattoos do you have in total? Do you know that? I mean, because a lot of them mushing together.
Yeah. Some things get covered up. It's funny. My daughter loves tattoos, and she's gotten a couple. And I've got her to stop simply because just telling her, I go, look, I'm not anti-tattoo. Yeah. Obviously, I'm not saying. I go, one, see what's the actual direction you want your life to go before you start making crazy decisions.
Right.
Two, get a good artist, because that's why I said I did it all at her age and younger even.
Yeah.
I go, but most of my adult like tattoos are covering up like shitty stuff I had, just dumb stuff.
Yeah.
But I would get more for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd keep nothing. I wouldn't do anything like face or anything like that. But again, I
know
just
it's
think
like the new frontier is face tattoos.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a real
it's a real statement.
If you don't like it, I semi-regret even like the hands, which is sort of recent too. But like,
oh, really?
Just like I wish I would have thought about it maybe more what I was going to do with them. But like I said, if it makes sense, it all kind of goes. Like if you do something and people like know who you are, like things become iconic when they're not even like supposed to be.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting. I wore a Gigi Allen shirt yesterday, and I've been watching a bunch of documentaries on him again recently, and like his tattoos are horrible. But like when you see him like in the pictures, like, well, that's him.
Yeah, in the totality, it's cool.
It was just like life sucks, scum, fuck. And I'm like, what? But when you see it on him, you're like, oh, there's the tattoo. It's like, oh, there's the thing.
Yeah,
you can see it peeking through.
Yeah. Well,
I got Marilyn Manson lyrics that I'm getting covered up because those didn't age well.
Oh no.
I never took into consideration Me Too to lyrics. I'd get tattoos on my arm.
Oh my god.
And then they quietly dropped all charges against him, but I'm like,
did they really?
Yeah, but you're still like, but
someone got paid.
You know what? Let's just go ahead and not.
Yeah.
Let's just not have them.
Yeah, this is still up for debate. I know. I think about that of my Woody Allen back tattoo.
full size. It's Steve-O. It's the Steve-O giving the "Yeah, dude, I rule."
Yeah, it's just giant Woody Allen.
It's him holding the soap gun.
Yeah. How long are you going to be in LA for?
2 more days.
2 more days.
Yeah, and then I Spokane and then Austin for the last of the press.
Nice.
On the road, at least.
That's good. You getting good love off the special?
As well as it's not out, at least internally, yeah. It's like the people I've showed it to,
cool,
have been good. So I hope that it's
good.
I've never like paid for it all before and saw that kind of thing. So it's great.
Yeah.
It's great in so many ways too. I do love that I own it.
Yeah.
I'm proud of it for sure, which is great.
Yeah.
But it's just like I don't know what the steps. You know what I mean? Like, what do you do if this doesn't? Like, there's such a bar set. Also with the self-production, because the thing with like a Netflix, it's just like are people talking about it or are they not talking about it?
Right.
It's really all you can get down to. Did you gain some followers? Did you not gain some followers?
Yeah.
The fact you can go every day and be like, only 4 people checked it out today. You're like, okay, that sucks to know.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah.
And even if it comes out of the gates like on fire and you get to that thing, there is just going to be a day. I remember Ari's special is a great example of that. And they will. I've talked to everybody enough to like, they'll hit walls, and then another round of promotion or something else you do comes up, and it gets millions more.
Yeah.
But in that first thing, I remember Ari was like climbing. Where I was nervous is he produced my special with the same crew.
Right.
where I was like, well, this is sort of the bar standard. You know what I mean? And I saw his thing get up to like
Killed it.
$5.5 million in
Yeah.
the first month or a little less.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, that is amazing.
Yeah.
And then I looked the other day and it's like 5.6 million. Now it changes nothing. It's not an insult because it's still 5.6. If it never moves again,
It did its
it's a
damage,
successful special.
Yeah.
But you just go, it's like, oh wow, though it does just want like when you get to 5 million, you're even like, this is insane. And then when it doesn't get to 6, like 3 months later, you're like, what happened?
Right.
And they're like, that's a lot of people, man. But you're like,
yeah.
Seems like everything was rolling.
Everything
We
was
were all going to
chugging
see
along.
that.
Yeah, exactly. It is great though. I mean, there is such a roster of really good people that have done it this way.
Yeah.
And it's a cool it's like a cool moment for that.
Well, that was, Netflix and all those things, which are great. I mean, I would have loved to do another one, but I get the position they're in with stuff too.
Yeah.
I'm a risk in that regard because, like, I'm not. Well, I'm not like when it comes out, everyone who goes on Netflix isn't going to be like, oh shit, it's like Chappelle, like the new Chappelle specials out.
Yeah.
People will be like, who's this? And the fans will know. But like, but yeah, the self promote. Like I never said that the much stress is in this is surprising. That's what I was like. What it was going to take.
What this stress of going out and promoting?
Yeah, because I said that was not like when I did Netflix stuff before and everything too. It was just like, yeah, I do a couple phoners,
right, and it just goes up on there. And you
when I did the Comedy Central one, I did
let people know.
I did the Comedy Central one. I did a phoner with the guy who became notoriously the guy who got like Shane Gillis fired from SNL. And
oh god,
and it's so funny because like the change. Talk about people doing the change of heart. That happened to Louis too. I saw in articles. Was I mean, this guy wrote. I think in one of his, he's like a modern day Mark Twain, like or somebody called me like, a filthy Mark Twain. This guy, and then like cut to 3 years later, he's like, this Nazi is racist, homophobic. Yeah, and you're like, what happened?
Yeah, well, people started writing about.
Well, they got their clicks doing that.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of infiltrated comedy. It is kind of embarrassing when you read some reviews and it's all about that.
Yeah.
And you realize how little they know about comedy.
I know.
It's like, just stick to your beat.
They harp on the weirdest stuff.
Yeah, it's like that has nothing to do with the experience that the comedian or the audience is having. It has nothing to do with it.
Nothing.
Yeah.
That's not.
It's like writing about like NASCAR and talking, only about rubber products. Sure, there's rubber involved, but
because you can't stop there.
Yeah, it's not the thrust of the whole thing. Well, this is great. I'm glad you can come and
thank
do
you
this.
for having me, man.
Yeah,
this is a blast.
The special is called Dog Belly.
Yes, indeed, on YouTube.
I hope you enjoy all your treats.
Yeah. They look great.
Make yourself a big bowl of spaghetti with some butter and Parmesan.
Get some butter and Parmesan. When I stayed. I always think it's such a funny LA thing. When I first came, one of the first times I came out here to do something with Ari, Ari was like, I'm out of town, but you and Christine can use my place.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, that's huge. And it was when he lived on Sunset, right by the Comedy Store, in this weird little courtyard apartment complex.
Yeah.
We went in there and we're just kind of looking around Ari's like bachelor life, which, he's got a girlfriend now. It's different, like his living situation now.
Yeah.
But he himself is just a guy who's like, he doesn't give a shit about that stuff.
Yeah.
And we went in there, and I remember we looked in the fridge at one point to see if there's anything to drink, and it was like 4 already opened and used like Parmesan cheeses. And then we opened up one of the cabinets, and he had like 3 unopened Parmesan cheeses. And on top of his fridge, in case they don't need to be refrigerated, he had 2 other Parmesan cheeses. And then I swear, I asked him if it was a joke, and he said no. He started laughing. He goes, no, it's not a joke. And then because on his refrigerator was a magnet and like one piece of paper, and it said to-do list. And number 4 was buy Parm cheese. What do you do? He's like, I ate a lot of spaghetti. I go, yeah, funny. But man, that's too much Parm cheese.
He's so uniquely funny, Ari. He really is. He's just so his own.
I love it though. I love he just goes for it. Man.
I know.
I wish that we all had that balls sometimes.
I know, because there's nothing calculated about it. It's just that natural. I'm not going to really entertain the normal way to live.
It's so natural because when they go, Ari, no, he always has like a what?
Right. Yeah.
You can't take a shit in the middle of a national zoo or something.
I don't get it.
Yeah, you can't shit into a lion's to the lion habitat.
That's so funny. Great seeing you.
Great seeing
Enjoy
you too,
the rest
Tom.
of your
Thank you,
stay.
man. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
We got it, Joey. That's the big show, guys. That's it. Big Jay Oakerson. Go see a special. Go watch it. Like it. Give him some love. He's running around doing the right thing, promoting it. Listen to him on Sirius XM on The Bonfire with the great Robert Kelly. Used to be with Dan Soder, now Robert Kelly. Great show, great community, and Skankfest, of course. It's always a good thing and a good time. Go to tompapa.com. The tour is up and available. We forgot the book again, Joey. We got to show the people the book. We're all in this together, so make some room. I will talk to you next time, either with a great French experience or it might be tomorrow. I might be right back here tomorrow, just doing a podcast by myself and drinking this wine and eating French cheese at the new studio. You're the best.